The quantum displacement field shimmered like broken glass as Elsa materialized in Sector 7 of the orbital station Kepler 442b. Her bioluminescent skin pulsed with nervous energy, casting ethereal blue patterns across the sterile white walls. She was a Zerathian, a species humanity had discovered only 3 years ago during the first successful wormhole traversal. Now, at 14 cycles old, she stood alone in a human refuge station, clutching a data tablet containing her entire genetic history. Harry Donovan noticed her immediately through the observation deck's reinforced polymer window. He was an outsider, the term given to humans who chose to live on the fringes of regulated space, refusing neural implants and rejecting the collective consciousness network that now linked 87% of humanity's minds. His refusal made him obsolete in the eyes of most, but it also made him free. "Another refugee," muttered Dr. Chen beside him, her neural interface flickering with incoming data streams. "Zerathian, juvenile, parents probably killed in the Proxima raids." Harry watched as station security guided Elsa through decontamination protocols. Her large obsidian eyes darted around nervously, taking in everything with the hyper-awareness of prey in predator territory. Something about her isolation resonated with him deeply. 3 days later, Harry found himself assigned to Elsa's case through the Refugee Integration Program. The station's AI had determined that his lack of neural connectivity made him ideal for working with species who communicated through traditional verbal and gestural methods rather than thought transfer. Their first meeting occurred in Integration Room 7, a space designed to shift environmental parameters based on biological needs. As Harry entered, the room had already adjusted to Elsa's requirements. Higher oxygen concentration, temperature lowered to 12 degrees Celsius, and atmospheric pressure increased by 1.3 bars. "Hello, Elsa. My name is Harry Donovan. I'll be helping you adjust to life here on the station." Elsa's skin flickered from blue to purple, a sign of distrust, according to the xenobiological guide Harry had studied. She remained silent, her 3-fingered hands gripping the edge of her seated platform. "I understand you've been through something terrible," Harry continued, pulling up a chair and maintaining what the guide called respectful distance, approximately 2.7 meters for Zerathians. "You don't have to talk about it until you're ready." For 17 minutes they sat in silence. Harry didn't push. He'd learned patience during his years mining helium-3 on Europa, where one mistake, one rushed decision, could mean explosive decompression and death. Finally, Elsa spoke, her voice carrying the characteristic harmonic quality of her species, each word layered with multiple tones. "They say you are different from the others, that you are not connected to the thinking web." "The collective consciousness network," Harry clarified. "Yes, I'm not connected. I prefer to keep my thoughts my own." "Why?" The question carried genuine curiosity, her skin shifting to yellow-green. "Because I believe that being human, or being any sentient being, means having the freedom to be wrong, to be alone with your thoughts, to make mistakes that are entirely yours." He paused. "Connection is beautiful, but so is solitude." Elsa's skin pulsed with colors Harry had never seen documented, swirling patterns of orange and silver. "My people had no choice about connection. We were always together, always feeling each other's presence through the quantum field our biology produces. When the raiders came, when they died," her voice fractured, "I felt every death, all 47,382 of my colony, including my parents." Harry's stomach tightened. The Proxima raids had been brutal, corporate mercenaries seeking to claim Zerathian-controlled asteroid fields rich with exotic matter. But he hadn't realized the Zerathians were quantum-entangled at a biological level. To lose your colony wasn't just to lose your family. It was like having your own nervous system violently amputated. "I'm sorry," he said and meant it. "The human doctors say I am an anomaly, A Zarathian who survived severance from the quantum field should not be possible. They want to study me to understand how I continue to function. Her skin turned gray, the color of Zarathian grief. But I don't want to be studied. I want. She stopped, and for a long moment, the only sound was the station's environmental systems humming in the background. What do you want, Elsa? When she finally spoke, her voice was barely above a whisper. Please pretend you're my father. The request hit Harry like a micrometeorite strike, unexpected and penetrating. He opened his mouth to explain all the reasons why that was impossible, inappropriate, complicated. But then he looked at her, really looked at her. This child was utterly alone in a way that transcended human understanding. She wasn't just orphaned. She was severed from the fundamental connection that defined her species' existence. I can't be your father, Elsa, he said gently. I'm not Zarathian. I can't replace what you've lost. Her skin flickered to black, true despair. But Harry continued, I can be someone who shows up every day, someone who listens when you need to talk and sits quietly when you don't, someone who cares whether you're okay. He leaned forward slightly. Would that help? The colors on Elsa's skin began to shift again, cycling through patterns of confusion and hope. You would do this, even though I am not your species, even though you gain nothing from it. Elsa, where I'm from, old Earth before the collective, we had a saying, family isn't just blood. It means the people who matter aren't always the ones we're born to. Sometimes they're the ones who choose to stay. Over the following weeks, Harry rearranged his entire life around Elsa's needs. He modified his quarters to include a cold room where she could sleep in comfort. He learned Zarathian gestural communication, spending hours practicing the complex finger movements that supplemented their verbal language. He studied their mathematics, their philosophy, their art. The station's administrators were baffled. Dr. Chen confronted him in the mess hall one evening. Donovan, what are you doing? That alien child isn't your responsibility. There are proper programs, trained xenopsychologists, who treat her like a case study, Harry interrupted, who see her as data to be collected, a puzzle to be solved. And you see her as what? A pet project, a way to feel important. Harry set down his meal tray carefully. I see her as a kid who's scared and alone, who lost everything and who asked me for help. That's enough. Dr. Chen's neural interface flickered with incoming thoughts from the collective. The majority consensus finds your attachment statistically irrational and emotionally inefficient. Then I guess it's a good thing I'm not connected to the majority consensus. But Harry's commitment was tested when Elsa's nightmares began. She would wake screaming, her skin flashing violent reds and blacks, reliving the quantum echoes of her colony's death. Traditional human treatments were useless. Her neurology was fundamentally different. One night, Harry sat with her for 6 hours straight as she trembled and wept, her body unable to regulate its bioluminescence. He didn't try to fix her or offer platitudes. He simply stayed, his presence a steady anchor in her storm. In Zarathian culture, Elsa whispered hoarsely, parents share quantum resonance with their offspring. When I was afraid, I could feel my mother's calm, my father's strength, transmitted directly into my consciousness. Now there is only silence. Harry thought for a long moment. I can't give you quantum resonance, Elsa, but I can give you patterns, rhythms you can count on. He began establishing rituals. Every morning at 600 station time they had breakfast together, human coffee for him, liquid helium nutrient suspension for her. Every evening at 2000 they reviewed her integration lessons. On rest days, they explored the station's observation decks, watching distant stars through the viewport. The consistency became its own kind of connection, not quantum, not biological, but real nonetheless. The breakthrough came 3 months after their first meeting. A collective researcher named Dr. Yuki approached Harry with scans of Elsa's neurological activity. Look at this, Yuki said, projecting holographic brain imagery. When Elsa is with you, her quantum field, which should be completely dormant, shows low-level activity. It's as if she's trying to connect with you despite the biological impossibility. Harry studied the swirling patterns of exotic particles. What does that mean? It means, Yuki said slowly, that connection isn't purely biological. Elsa is generating a quantum field through intention, through emotional bonding, she paused, through love. The word hung in the air like a suspended particle. The collective has been analyzing this for weeks, Yuki continued. It challenges everything we thought we knew about consciousness and connection. Elsa is creating something that shouldn't exist, a bridge between species, between biologies, through sheer force of need and will. That evening, Harry found Elsa in the observation deck, her skin showing the deep blue of contemplation as she watched a nearby nebula. "They told you about the scans," she said without turning around. "Yeah. I am sorry, I did not mean to be unusual, more unusual than I already am." Harry joined her at the viewport. "Elsa, you're not unusual, you're extraordinary. You're doing something incredible, building a new kind of connection from nothing but determination." She finally looked at him, her obsidian eyes reflecting the starlight. "When I asked you to pretend to be my father, I thought it was just pretending. But it is not pretending anymore, is it?" "No," Harry agreed quietly, "it's not pretending." "What is it then?" Harry thought about all the human concepts he might use: adoption, mentorship, guardianship, but none felt adequate. "It's choosing each other," he said finally. "In a universe that tried to make us both irrelevant, you without your colony, me without the collective, we chose to matter to each other. That's not pretending. That's the most real thing I know." Elsa's skin bloomed with colors Harry had never seen, patterns so complex and beautiful they seemed to contain entire galaxies. The viewing port's sensors detected a quantum resonance signature, faint but unmistakable, oscillating between them. "The collective will want to study this," Elsa said. "Let them study," Harry replied. "We'll be too busy living it." Years later, xenoanthropologists would write papers about the Donovan-Elsa bond, theorizing about consciousness, connection, and the nature of family across species barriers. But in that moment, in observation deck 7 of station Kepler 442b, a human outsider and an alien girl simply stood together, watching stars, belonging to each other in a way that defied every biological law but obeyed the only rule that mattered: that love, in whatever form it takes, makes its own connections. And somewhere in the quantum foam of spacetime, their bond registered as a new kind of particle, proof that family, like energy, can neither be created nor destroyed, only transformed. And